Why don't we start with a recap of last night's action? Tell you what I think. Tell you what, I think that I can actually get used to the concept of Tuesday football. In fact, I know I can get used to the concept of Tuesday football, especially since I nailed both those games last night. The big head got down and got right again. But back to this notion of Tuesday. I'm already used to it after only one day. And don't think for a second that the league is not thinking about it at some point as well. Not thinking about, hey man, how do we do this? How do we figure out a schedule whereby we have games on Tuesday and Wednesday? You know they're thinking about it. You know they think they can make it work. And by the way, every last one of us would watch it. Last night's Seahawks-Rams game was really about three different teams. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the refs. One of those three teams is going in the right direction. The other two teams are struggling big time. And one of them is struggling so much, they'll get their own take. In fact, two of them are struggling so much, they'll get their own takes. But me, why don't we make it about me for a minute? I don't want to talk about me. I never want to make it about me, but let's make it about me. As always, because I'm a glass half full guy, because I am upbeat as hell, because I'm looking to keep things positive and rock turtlenecks. You know me. That's my brand. That is my brand. If anybody knows anything about me and my career and my life, that is my brand. Positivity and turtlenecks. We know this. So let's keep it positive. Let's keep it positive and upbeat and start with the Rams. All of a sudden, once again, they appear to be who we thought they were. And that's without anything close to a normal roster the last couple of games. And they're getting right, and they're getting right at the right time. And it stands to reason they're going to get even more right and even better as they get healthier. This is why I said on the NFL Today on CBS before Sunday's action that while it was looking more and more like the Packers and the Bucs were on a collision course for a rematch of the NFC Championship game, do not forget about the Rams. Then what happens? The Bucs go out, they get humiliated by the Saints, and the Rams handle their business again. See, at this point, it really doesn't even matter what day the game is. Yeah, Tuesday football is kind of weird and awesome. But it doesn't matter what day the game is. It really doesn't matter what time the game is. Right now, the Rams are going to show up, and they're going to ball the hell out. Sunday afternoon game, Cooper Kupp is there. Monday night game, Cooper Kupp is there. Tuesday afternoon game, Cooper Kupp is there. And he showed up huge again last night. Like he always does. 9 receptions, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's 3 straight games of 120 receiving yards and at least 1 TD. Like we're talking historic numbers now. The first TD yesterday broke the team record for receptions in a season. I'm telling you, man, that guy, there have been some damn good receivers in the history of that franchise, and they would throw it around. But he's now got the record. And if 1 is good, then 2 is even better. I got to tell you something. Some of my favorite Rams ever were wide receivers. I hate to say this, but move over Flipper Anderson. Move over Henry Ellard. Man, I really don't want to say this because I love the guy. Move over Torrey Holt. This guy is that good, though, and putting up numbers like that. And, of course, he went viral for breaking down a play, remember? Because he did that, everybody was looking for him to go football nerd with his breakdown of the second TD. So you ask for it and you shall receive. Now here's my technical football nerd analysis of Cooper Kupp. He's a damn good player. Straight up baller. It does not matter how much you focus on him, how many resources or energy or bodies that you commit to stopping this guy. You still can't stop this guy. He is so dominant that on his worst game of the year, he still had 5 receptions for 64 yards. That was his worst game of the year. That's the only time he's been held under 90 yards this season. He's been over 150 more times than he's been under 90. Think about that stat for a minute. He's been over 150 more times than he's been under 90. Bleeping stud. Ordinarily, I would hype this guy for MVP because he is that legit. Those numbers are that legit. He's that good and he's that valuable. Arguably as valuable as anybody else is to their team in the NFL. Virtually anybody else. I could argue that point. In fact, I want to argue that point, except I'm not going to because I know it's a giant waste of time. Voters are not going to give the MVP to a receiver. They're just not. So I'm not going to waste my time. Just know the guy is that good, and he is that valuable, and he sure as hell deserves that consideration. So, nice to know that no matter how many guys are missing, no matter how chaotic things get, that guy will always show up and show out. But last night was not only about Cooper Kupp. It might start with him, but it was not only about him. There was also Sony Michel and the physicality of that Rams offense. Do not be fooled by the passing game. Sean McVay is not just looking to air it out every single time and hope for the best. He knows he needs a nasty ground game too. He knows you have to have that to win in January. This is why he wanted Sony Michel, and this is what he's getting from Sony Michel. The guy looks great, and he runs hard. And also, it's not just about him and Kupp and the offense. It's about that Rams defense, and it's getting better and better. According to Next Gen Stats, DK Metcalf was targeted 7 times when Jalen Ramsey was the closest defender. He had 2 receptions for 21 yards on those targets. Ramsey locked him the hell up. On 3rd and 14, midway through the fourth quarter, there was a play that told you everything about Jalen Ramsey and the Seahawks and Russell Wilson in particular. Hell of a play and a hell of a recovery by Ramsey. I mean, yes, he was beaten on that play, but he still recovered and he made the play. But the fact is, Russell Wilson afforded him the opportunity to make that play. I'll get into this at greater length a little bit later on, but while the Seahawks are no longer the Seahawks, Russ ain't Russ. Russ just is not Russ. Not now, he's not. I'm not saying he's washed. I'm not saying that he can't get it back. I'm not saying that that jacked up digit on his throwing hand isn't contributing to this, because clearly it is. But here's what I am saying. In years past, Russ would never miss that throw. Pro Bowl Russ hits Metcalf with a frozen rope for an easy 40-yard gain, if not a touchdown. But not last night, not this season. This dude is not right. And he and they better hope it's only that finger, or dude just got really old really fast. Like he went from 33 to 53 over the course of a season. Like he aged 10 years from last week to this week. I'm not saying he's irreparably damaged. I'm not saying that. Nor am I saying that I have any idea exactly what he's dealing with, but he's dealing with something, because this dude is no longer the dude, and not even close. He was 17 of 31 for 156 yards. Cooper Kupp nearly had more receiving yards than Russ had passing yards, and he definitely had more touchdowns. So the Hawks are done. They're just done. Their season's not over technically. They're not mathematically eliminated, but their season is over. So is their run. So is the era. They do deserve respect for what they've done on the field and organizationally over the past decade. But per usual, when it goes fast. And the crazy thing is, I almost had to make the same argument about the Rams recently when it appeared that their entire season was ripping apart. They had lost 3 in a row. We had even glossed Matthew Stafford, Matty Gofford.
That's pretty awesome.
It was. That was a pretty awesome gloss, because he and they were struggling that badly. And it wasn't just Gofford. Suddenly, Sean McVay was not the smartest guy in the room. And the additions of Odell Beckham and Von Miller looked like a giant waste of time. A couple of big-name dudes who were nowhere near what they used to be and not contributing, and it was going terribly. And right when you thought it couldn't get any worse, they get hit with a crazy COVID outbreak. And yet through it all, somehow, some way, these guys have actually gotten better. Somehow it galvanized them. Somehow other guys did step up and they found a way to grind through it. And because of that, think how much better and tougher and how much more dangerous they're going to be when they do get guys back from the protocol. You know, as always, not dead, can't quit. Not dead, can't quit. And everybody was throwing dirt on these guys, only to have the Rams rise up, rip the shovel right out of your hands, and smash you in the face with it. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion that not only were the Cards going to rip the NFC West, but they were going to get the top seed too, and the first round bye that goes along with it. And they were the best team in the NFL. We were talking about the Cards that way only a couple of weeks back. Then the Rams got them. Then they chased that with a humiliating loss to the Lions. And suddenly, on the basis of only the last 2 weeks, now, and the matchup they had with the Cards, now it's almost impossible to pick against the Rams winning that division. I mean, it is a wild year where something happens every single week. And when it goes fast. McVay said it last night. That was, quote, a big-time win. And he's right. It was a big-time win by a team with a big-time set of brass nads.
That's right.
That's right, Stuart.
That's right.
They went through a really dark period, and somehow, some way, they came out the other end much better for it. And now they're not only in line to rip the division, but there's so much more at stake than even that. Oh, and in case you forgot, where is the Super Bowl being played this year? Whose house? Rams' house. The work is working. The Rams are suddenly the team to beat in the West. And Cooper Kupp is teaching a masterclass in receiving.